Ahoy, and welcome back to another diecast review. And today we have the number 77 Mazda RT24P from the 2020 Rolex 24, made in 143 scale by TSM model. So this one here is a relatively new release. The downside with TSM has always been that they are very slow at getting stuff out. And as you can see, this race was over 2 years ago, and we're just now getting this model in the U.S. market. But fantastic looking car. This was the debut race of the Idemitsu livery, and this was also the farewell race of Mazda Team Yost. So this was the only time that that Mazda Team Yost actually campaigned this car, because starting at the next race, which was all the way in July of later that year, it was Mazda Multimatic was the entry. And also the fact that this was the only normal race that we had in the year 2020, because this was pre-pandemic. But before we get into the car itself, we're going to look at the packaging. Very IMSA branded packaging, as you'd expect. The only really differentiating thing is the base here, Mazda RT24P DPI number 77 from the 2020 IMSA Daytona 24 Hours. Second place, Mazda Team Yost. On the back, we got IMSA branding and TSM models. And under here, we have IMSA officially licensed product, Mazda Motor Corporation with the approval number, and then the item number there. So let's take a look at the actual car itself. And fantastic looking car. As I mentioned, this was the debut of the Ice Crystal White scheme with the Idemitsu livery. Obviously, the 55 car would carry this in its final season 1 year later. But let's go ahead and take a look at the car. So we do have the front splitter on the front. It's actually quite a bit larger than I remember it being. And then also has the massive front dive planes on the car, which I don't know why you would need that big of downforce for Daytona, but whatever. You have two very tiny Idemitsu logos there on the splitter. Now to the nose, going up, we have Mazda, IMSA. We have three flags on there. The America flag, because Dale, yeah. The Japanese flag, because Mazda is a Japanese manufacturer. And then the German flag for Team Yost, who prepared and raced the cars. The number 77 there with the black number board, signifying it is a DPI car. And then you have the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship logo and the Michelin Endurance Cup Championship. And then we have also here, you gotta go at a weird angle to see it. My camera does not want to focus, but you can see it there, that little black nub. That's the bulkhead mounted camera, which is standard on DPI cars in the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. It debuted mid-2018. I believe the first run of it was Mid-Ohio on the ESM team. Fun fact. Up on the windshield banner, one of my biggest disappointments with this car is the fact that over the transparent pieces, the windshield and the windows, the white really does look off, and it stands out quite a bit. Now, I do want to get the Soul Crystal Red number 55 to go with it. And I'm pretty sure that that does not have the same issue. Of course, with white, it's always going to be kind of a thinner wrapping to it, but I digress. You also have the windshield wiper as well, and a little S-duct right there on the nose. But you have Mazda and Idemitsu. On the mirrors that are white, you just have Mazda. And then you can see here what I was kind of talking about with the name panel with Jarvis, Nunez, and Pla, and then kind of the wrapping there. It does look a little shabby. One thing I'm disappointed in is the hinges for the doors are printed on. They're not a separate piece like with a Spark model, which is disappointing to say the least. Over here we have the Michelin Endurance Cup, WeatherTech, and the number 77, and then the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship logo there. You have the side pods, which are a lot more revised, a lot more sculpted than the previous generation of the RT24. Now, by previous generation, I mean like the launch and 2018 specification car, which Mazda's biggest fault always has been the cooling of the cars. And you see a lot more sculpting as well as aero bits along here. Mazda Motorsports on the side, and then Idemitsu on the side pod itself, as well as some vents and some louvers. You can see your top mounted single exhaust. On the fan, we have Idemitsu, DPI, and then your leader light panel here ahead of the rear wheel. We have a bunch of sponsors that are really, really small to read off, so I'm not going to read them off. And then on the, on the wing end plate, the rear wing end plate, we have Mazda Team Yost. Again, this was the only race that this livery and Team Yost competed with. One big disappointing factor here is, see how the rear wing kind of has that weird shape? That's where the taillights of the car are supposed to be. Now, Spark would have added a little clear plastic piece to that to kind of replicate the taillight lens. Unfortunately, they just left that off this car completely. On the rear wing itself, Idemitsu. On the back, Mazda and 77 on either of the cheese wedges. This side, pretty much the same, just minus the fuel plug-in. You can see the red and black striping, which looks fantastic. It really does give the car a little bit more character compared to what it normally would have without it. The airbox up top is just black, and you can see your, well, it would be your antenna array, but there's only one antenna. There would also be marker lights on the top as well on this car to signify the differences between the 55 and 77. Kind of something like Acura did with their cars, at least on the airbox. And then, again, this side's pretty much the same. You can see your tiny headlights there. And, oh, wow, they actually did put the little bulby things in there. It's a little difficult to see because the Mazda headlights are very tiny. One thing that disappoints me is the grille is, for the most part, blank. There should be, like, there is a little, like, I don't want to call it a crash box because it's not, but there's like a little obscurely placed box in the front grill of it, and then there's like two little metallic support pieces that go to it. The little box is modeled in there, but the two support structures are not. On the engine cover, you do have all the arrows for the latches and things to let you know if you didn't already. By the way, if you don't know where the bodywork latches are on these cars, you do not deserve to be working on these cars because, I mean, that's kind of part of the program here, but whatever. And of course, this car was unique because it does have the Riley chassis, and it had the two separate engine cover pieces that came off, and then the fin would stay stationary, which is a little fun fact. And then obviously Michelin tires on the car. Underneath, TSM model, and you can see some of the underneath aerodynamics. Very large screws on this holding it together, which is unusual. But yeah, very nice car. I'm glad to have it in the collection because it is a Mazda. Mazda was my favorite DPI out of all of them, and you know, it's really good to have this livery in as well. I mean, my newest Mazda model prior to this was the 2018 Team Yost cars. But yeah, I look forward to getting the Idemitsu 55 to go along with this, and I might actually pull the trigger and get the just regular Soul Crystal Red branded Mazda, obviously the 55. But yeah, that's really it for this review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and you know, this would be the part where anyone else would ask you to hit the subscribe button, but whatever. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and as always, peace out.